Your cute little werewolf gets a part too. So, here we go. What are you? Yin asked. Bakugo bent down to her ear and whispered in a deep voice. I think you already figured it out, little human. And from that moment on, I knew my life wasn't going to be the same again. Life with the wolves was mostly certainly different from with humans. I met Kasuke Bakugo at an unexpected time. I thought I was having a dream, like a werewolf. Seriously, you wouldn't think of it? He's an aggressive guy who acted tough and confident around others, yet he was really soft, literally, with his with his ears and tail. Let's just say he was Rossovich, I think it's obsessive of his mate, me, I guess. He would make sure his scent was always on me to make sure I would smell it. It was to be smelled everywhere. He would hold me close at any chance he gets and would always be nice. I should be lucky it only happened to me. After spending about 3 days in the den getting to know each other like the Bucky squad, I remembered my parents. I convinced Bakugo to take me there and said he could tag along as well. They were pretty shocked, to say the least. They looked wide-eyed to see a dog boy on their doorstep, and it took them some time to get used to it. Thankfully, in the end, everything turned out great, except for now. Present time. It was the night Bakugo feared the most, worried for himself and Yin's protection. It was a blood moon, and his first one with his new mate. The blood moon took away the werewolf's mind and turned them into a monster feared by all. This is something that couldn't be controlled. It was in their DNA, the blood. The risks of injuring her could be fatal, and she would forever be afraid of him. He was worried his wolf side wouldn't recognize her as his mate. So he forgot about it and hid away from her. That was the biggest mistake. It was approximately 11:55, and Yin wanted to sleep. She sleepily walked to her and Bakugo's shared room and stopped in front of the door. She heard growling and grunting in pain. On the other side, Bakugo. Slowly and carefully, she opened the door. Her eyes widened at the man she fell in love with, on the ground in pain. Bakugo, OMG, are you okay? His ears twitched at the familiar voice. His red eyes wondering him fear as she approached closer to the monster he was slowly turning into. No, get away from me now, he shouted at her as she crouched down. She shook her head as a no and helped him to his feet. While he tried to push away, Yin sat him down in the bed. She started to panic at the sounds of cracking. It was his bones. Bakugo, please tell me what's wrong. What's happening to you? Please. I can't control it. The blood moons, oh my god, shone brightly through the glass window at midnight. He yells in pain as his limbs twisted and turning, causing him to fall off the bed and onto the hard wooden floor. Yin backed away as he grew larger and larger, hairier and hairier by the minute. The white teeth as sharp as knives and claws shifted, as well as his clothes torn into shreds. Yin was now able to see his true form, a werewolf, before her very own eyes. Yin didn't know what to do but stare at the exotic creature in front of her. The wolf, or so Bakugo looked around the room, confused as to where he was. And then his blood eyes, which matched the moon, had stilled on the small figure that was stuck in the room with him. The werewolf barred his plain teeth at the little girl, as if she was some sort of treat. A voice in his head told him to leave her alone, yet he blocked it. The only thought that was going through his head was human treat. He stood on his hind legs, growls erupting from the cave of his mouth, his long snout inhaling her scent as a king tail, as I think it's supposed to be, as a thick tail flickered in the darkness. Yin backed away into a dead end as the werewolf approached threateningly. Bakugo tried to get a hold of himself, but the werewolf side of him didn't listen and went closer, figuring out what to do with the human while having a mental debut with his human side. The Baku wolf bent down and growled at the small human as she trembled in fear, trying to find comfort by pulling her hands on her head. Drool poured out of Bakugo's mouth as he used his long snout to smell the human. But something smelt familiar. He could smell himself on her. He had marked her. He could have known her. But where? He smelt her hands, her shaking hands now touching his wet black nose. Heavy and warm puffs of air were blown in the direction of the frail human. Her hair flown a bit in the air. His slit red eyes made contact with her shaking eye-colored eyes. He made some sort of confused noise and tilted his head like a lost puppy. He sat down at all four in front of her. She looked up at him, fear slowly dying down. He stuck out his slippery youngest and locked her face. Oh, and licked her face. Hey, stop that. That tickles, Yin told him as she giggled. This sound Bakugo's like, so he carried on. Yin, oh my god, what? Landed on her back and continued to laugh as Bakugo tickled and teased her more, his long ashy blonde tail shaking in happiness. His eyes locked back into her own, and they watched. She slids down and towards into a normal puddle size and what the flip this is worded with, and retracts his flow into the safety of his paw. He remembered. He bent down and made a sad dog noise, basically saying he was sorry for not recognizing her earlier. Yin's face softened at this as she reached out to pet his head. The touch sent a shiver down Bakugo's spine as his tail wagged quickly. They sat together for a few minutes before the human stood up and walked towards the bed. Bakugo then followed suit and stared as she got comfortable. Yin looked at Bakugo. Aren't you coming in? She questioned. He jumped on top of the small bed now and laid next to her, his neck supporting her head as he curled his body and tail around her, protecting her from any danger. Yin sighed calmly as she closed her eyes, snuggling deeper into the wolf's fluffy chest. Bakugo then closed his eyes, and they both went to sleep. The next morning, Yin woke up first. The first thing she noticed was that the giant wolf was now gone and replaced with her lover. She smiled up at his face as she reached up and pet his ears. Bakugo grabbed the girl closer and buried his face into her neck, slowly and groggily waking up from his slumber. You okay now? She asked him. Yep. Sorry, he said in a sad tone. Next time just tell me and don't go all werewolf mode on me. Got it, dumbass. Maybe don't call your girlfriend a dumbass, furry. Got it, idiot. Bitch. Hag. Asshole. They smiled as they hugged each other. closer as the yellow sun shined outside. Get your fat ass off me. Now, now you're heavy. She winced. Nope, you're stuck with me, bitch. He smirked as she rolled her eyes, but smiled back at him. Someone from my school found my YouTube, and they have like their own little YouTubes, and they have like 3 subscribers while I'm over here with like 300, and I'm very upset. I'm just very shocked. But thank you guys for listening. Bye.